the first thing he noticed about her, before the long ears, before the strange glow in her eyes, before the way she walked like gravity was only a polite suggestion, was that she looked at him as if he were sunrise. Not the metaphorical kind. The real sort, the kind pilots see bleeding over the edges of gas giants. All mixed with something else he couldn't name. He stood in the docking bay, waiting for his new assignment brief, when she approached with the determined stride of someone who had rehearsed this moment at least 27 times. Her ears, long and sleek like sculpted silver, twitched nervously. He tried not to stare. He failed immediately. "You," she said, breathless. "Warrior, human warrior, it's you." He blinked. "Did I forget I owed you money?" Her expression collapsed into offended disbelief. "No, you saved my life." A few passing technicians slowed down, realizing something entertaining was happening. He straightened, adjusting the bulky shoulder plate of his uniform. "I save a lot of lives. It's kind of my job. You might have to be more specific." Her long ears folded downward in a way that, strangely, triggered an urge in him to apologize. "You don't remember me," she whispered, as if the words themselves cracked something inside her. He opened his mouth to comment on how her ears were doing very expressive acrobatics, but then he stopped. Something about the way she said it tugged faintly at a corner of his mind. A memory he couldn't quite grip. A scent, ionized air and warm crystals. A sound, her voice, but softer, panicked. Or laughing, or both. But no, nothing solid. Just a flicker. She seemed to register the empty space behind his eyes because her posture snapped into defensive frustration. "You humans," she muttered. "Your brains erase things like it's a hobby." "I don't erase things on purpose," he objected. "There isn't a button in here that says, 'Delete alien woman with very memorable ears.'" She made a tiny sound that might have been a laugh or a muffled threat. Hard to tell with aliens. Before he could ask more, her gaze sharpened. "Your neural implant, the panel behind your left temple, it's humming wrong." "I didn't know implants hum right or wrong," he said. "I just know mine complains every time I run." She stepped closer, eyes narrowing in concentration. He felt her presence like a warm pulse, too close, too focused. He held very still as her fingers hovered near his temple, not touching, just sensing. When she finally brushed the skin just beside the implant, a shock rippled through him, like déjà vu colliding with lightning. He flinched. "What was that?" "A suppressed memory flare," she said, suddenly serious. "Someone hid something in your neural system, and not in a friendly, 'here's a surprise birthday party' way. More in a 'please never recall this or you'll ruin someone's career' way." He stared at her. "Who would do that?" She stared back. "Maybe the same people who tried to kill me." That was a conversation stopper. He cleared his throat. "Look, let's rewind. You said I saved you. When, where?" She took a small breath, steadying herself. "A year ago, the Kestrin Rift. Our ships collided during the storm. I was trapped in the wreckage. You pulled me out. You held me while the rift energy tore the sky apart. You told me not to fear the light." Her voice dimmed. "You were the last thing I saw before I lost consciousness." He searched for the memory as if it were hiding behind a curtain, refusing to come out. The Kestrin Rift missions were classified, dangerous, and half lost to malfunctioning logs. He remembered flashes of storms, debris, alarms, but no alien woman with long ears. "I'm sorry," he said quietly. "I don't remember." Her expression trembled, then tightened into resolve. "Then we will find out why, together." He blinked. "Together." "You saved my life," she said. "Now I will save your memory." "That sounds dramatic." "My people are dramatic," she replied without missing a beat. "We have ceremony days for everything, even sneezing." He snorted. "Let me guess, your sneezes are more powerful than ours." Her long ears perked proudly. "I once knocked over a turret." He tried not to laugh, failed again, and shook his head. "All right, suppose something really is wrong with my implant. Suppose someone erased something. Why would they do that?" She hesitated before answering. "Because the moment you saved me, something happened. Something important." "What kind of important?" "The kind that changes 2 lives, maybe more." His stomach dropped, not unpleasantly, more like stepping off into zero gravity without warning. "And you're sure I'm the guy?" This time her smile softened, warm as starlight. "I never forgot your face, even when I tried. He felt the flicker again, a spark in the dark of his mind. Then the station lights flickered overhead, followed by the piercing shriek of an alarm. A robotic voice echoed through the bay. Unscheduled intrusion detected. Will all personnel kindly panic in an orderly fashion? The alien woman grabbed his wrist. It started. Whoever erased your memory, they found us. He drew his weapon instinctively. Great. First day on a new assignment, and someone already wants to kill me. She flashed a grin. You get used to it. I was hoping not to. You saved me once, she said, pulling him toward the corridor. This time I save you. He followed her, heart pounding with the strange certainty that this wasn't the beginning of their story, only the return to a path he'd walked before and somehow forgotten. They ran through the corridor as the alarm lights pulsed red, turning every metallic surface into a frantic heartbeat. The alien woman, whose stride seemed part glide, part dance, moved ahead of him with surprising confidence, as if she already knew the station's layout better than its architect. Her long ears streamed behind her like silver banners, flicking sharply with every sound. He kept pace, weapon drawn, despite his neural implant buzzing like an irritated insect. You know, he panted, I'd appreciate a quick rundown on who's trying to kill us. Later, she said, ducking under a half-lowered bulkhead. Right now, survival, later explanations, maybe snacks. Snacks would help, he muttered. Preferably ones that don't explode. Her ears quivered. No promises. They slipped through another corridor, this one filled with hovering maintenance drones that looked startled to see anyone rushing by. One drone chirped in confusion before projecting a passive-aggressive message. Please walk. Running increases the risk of workplace injury. The alien woman smacked the hologram aside with a flick of her hand. He couldn't help but grin. So, do all your people move like you? She glanced back, gracefully, unpredictably. I'll take that as a compliment. Before he could reply, the lights ahead blew out with a sharp crack, plunging them into darkness. A mechanical whir echoed from the shadows. Oh good, he whispered. Ambience. She extended her hand, summoning a faint blue glow from a device strapped to her wrist. The light illuminated her features, sharp, elegant, and far too calm for his comfort. A spherical drone drifted out from the darkness, matte black and hostile, with a red eye that pulsed like it had anger management issues. Its sensors locked onto them with a predatory hum. She sighed. Assassin drone, Series 9, very efficient. Define efficient. It usually hits what it shoots. And you're just now mentioning this. It only became relevant now. The drone fired with a sharp sizzle. They dove behind a stack of energy cells as a plasma bolt scorched the wall. He peeked out. I thought you said you'd save me this time. She fired back with a small, crystal-edged blaster. I said I'd try. That does not inspire confidence. Then pretend I didn't say it. He groaned, rolling out from cover long enough to take a shot. His bolt clipped the drone's wing, sending it wobbling. The alien woman's ears curved up in excitement. Nice hit. Do it again. I didn't do it on purpose. Then accidentally do it again. Another volley of shots forced them back behind cover. The drone was adapting, adjusting its aim with unnerving precision. He glanced at her glowing wrist device. Can you overload that thing? Blind it. If I do, it might take out the entire corridor. That sounds bad. It depends on your definition of bad. Anything involving vaporizing me counts. She paused, then nodded. Fair. The drone floated closer, scanning the shadows. She suddenly grinned, mischievous. I have an idea. I'm terrified already. Without warning, she grabbed him by the wrist and yanked him to his feet. Run. They sprinted down the corridor, the drone chasing with a rising whine. She tossed him a small disc. Throw it at the drone. What does it do? Hopefully something helpful. Hopefully. But he threw it. The disc magnetized instantly, slamming onto the drone's casing. A second later, it unfolded like a metallic flower and released a pulse of blue energy. The drone froze midair, shivered violently, then collapsed in a sizzling pile of disapproval. He bent over, catching his breath. Please tell me that was the last one. It was the only one, she said. Series 9 are expensive. The people hunting us aren't rich. That's comforting, I guess. She offered him a hand, pulling him upright. Come, we need answers. And your implant is hiding more than memory fragments. Her tone was firm now, the humor sliding away just enough to show the steel beneath. They made their way through quieter corridors until reaching the station's old archive chamber. The door hissed open with a reluctant groan, revealing rows of dusty data towers and flickering consoles. The room smelled faintly of ozone and forgotten secrets. She approached a console and placed her hand over its interface. A pattern of light spread across her palm, syncing with the terminal. My species can interface with certain technologies, she explained. Sympathetic resonance. He nodded. I'm not sure what that means, but it looks cool. Her ears perked. It does look cool. Lines of encrypted data streamed onto the screen, mission logs, neural recordings, fragments of memories removed like pages torn from a book. He stepped closer. Is that me? Yes, she said softly. These are your memories, the ones someone locked away. He watched the data shift, flutter, break, and reform. There were flashes, shattered glimpses of a storm, a wreck, her silhouette reaching for him. Then something else appeared. A classified file stamped with a warning symbol. She tried to open it, but the system refused, hissing with denial. That file, she whispered, contains the truth. Why you forgot, why they made you forget. He frowned. Why would anyone erase a memory of saving someone? Her expression darkened. Because the moment you saved me wasn't just a rescue. Before he could ask more, the station shook violently. A tremor rolled through the chamber, followed by the distant echo of detonations. She looked at him with urgency. They've found us again. He steadied himself, gripping his weapon. Can we escape? Yes, she said, grabbing his hand. But next time, we go after the truth. No more running. As they fled the archive, alarms blaring once again, he felt the flicker in his mind grow stronger. No longer a distant spark, but a small flame. Something was waking inside him, something she had never forgotten, something he was finally starting to feel again. The storm around the ruined battlefield churned like a living thing, threads of violet lightning twisting through the sky with the grace of angry serpents. The ground beneath their boots trembled with every distant boom. He had seen cosmic storms before, but this one felt different, like it remembered him even if he didn't remember it. The alien woman tugged him forward, her long ears pressed back against her head to cut through the cutting wind. The data said the memory erasure happened here, she shouted over the roar. The rift energy was too unstable. They had to wipe your mind to keep you alive. Couldn't they have wiped something less important? He yelled back, like my dislike of broccoli. The corner of her mouth twitched. I think they picked the wrong file to delete. They climbed over fallen starship plating, glowing faintly from residual energy. The sky flickered again, illuminating the shattered remains of the medical pod where he had once fought for his life. It looked like a metal cocoon torn open from the inside. She approached the pod with reverence, running her fingers along its fractured edge. This is where you told them to save me first. The wind softened just long enough for him to hear his heartbeat. I said that. She nodded. The medics recorded it. You were dying, barely conscious. But you kept saying, just make sure she lives. You didn't even know my name. He stared at the pod, the flicker in his mind swelling into something almost painful, an echo of emotion too strong to be a phantom. He felt his past self, terrified and determined, choosing her life over his own. Why didn't anyone tell me? He whispered. Because what happened next was unprecedented. She gestured toward the ground. Embedded in the soil was a crystalline device shaped like a broken star. Your mind linked with mine during the storm, a resonance bond. My people only share it with those her voice faltered, those we trust beyond reason. He blinked, so we bonded. Accidentally. That sounds like something I would do. She let out a soft laugh. Yes, you ran into a cosmic storm to save someone you barely met. He thought about it. Okay, that also sounds like me. Before she could respond, a piercing alarm blared through the air. A sleek dropship descended from the swirling clouds, gleaming with the insignia of the organization that had erased his memories. The rear ramp opened, and a squad of armored soldiers emerged, scanning the ruins with weapons primed. Oh good, he said. Just what I wanted, company. She stepped protectively in front of him. They want the device, and they think the bond between us is dangerous. Is it? To them, yes, to us. She glanced back at him. Only if you run away again. He tightened his grip on his blaster. This time, I'm not running. The soldiers advanced, shouting warnings drowned by the storm. One aimed at her. Without thinking, he threw himself in front of the shot, deflecting it with a shield module that crackled against his arm. She shot him a look, half shock, half fury. Don't you dare die again. I'm trying not to. He yelled, firing back. The battle erupted in flashes of laser fire and stormlight. He and the alien woman moved in sync, instinctively, impossibly, like two halves of a single motion. When he ducked, she leaped. When she fired, he shielded. When he stumbled on a piece of debris, she caught him by the collar and yanked him upright with a frustrated snarl. You humans are reckless. I'm starting to think you like that about us. I do not, maybe shut up and shoot. Within minutes, the squad fell back, overwhelmed by the storm's fury and their combined assault. The dropship retreated into the clouds, leaving only silence and the crackle of fading plasma. He lowered his weapon. So, did we win? For now, she approached the crystalline device embedded in the ground. But this is what they fear, the bond, the memory, us. He knelt beside her. Then let's take it back. She hesitated, then reached out her hand, placing it over his. The moment their palms touched the device, a surge of energy burst outward. Images tore through him, instantaneous, overwhelming, real. He saw her trapped in the wreckage, reaching for him. He saw himself lifting her, shielding her, whispering that she wasn't alone. He saw her leaning over him in the medical pod, begging him not to die. He saw the connection between them ignite like a star. When the vision faded, tears shimmered in her luminous eyes.